Hello, hello. Can you hear me okay? I am coming at you from my parents' house. we are visiting for the month, and so yeah, it looks like the next couple Tuesdays I'm going to be broadcasting from my temporary bedroom. And we won't have any Maybel treats because Maybel is a little bit preoccupied. She's a little bit more preoccupied here. So she's, I can guarantee you she's, well fed and well scratched and well, treated here, treated, pun intended. She just got a new toy, which I can't show you. But it is a treat casino for dogs. So she's now, which is kind of exciting. She's now literally, quite literally unlocking boxes and taking the treats out. So that's a new skill for her, and a new skill for me to help her develop or something like that. But yeah, super cute, and I'll have to take a video with my phone and put it up on Instagram because it's a little bit too hard to showcase with the laptop. Today. But anyway, yeah, so super cool. Really excited to be here today. We're starting a new rig. So last week we didn't get to stream. We ran into some technical challenges, and because I had just driven over the weekend to get to my parents' house, I was absolutely exhausted, and I apologize. I should have sent a message and said we're not going to make it, but I was dead, so I didn't. But we'll do better next time when that happens. But today we've got a really cool rig. So my old coworker, Luis Gadea, gosh, I hope I'm saying his last name correct. So talented and one of my favorite artists, to be completely honest. I've always been in awe of the women that he's always drawn. He's always drawing some incredible various women. I'm just going to say various women. I'm a big fan. Like his work has always said diversity and inclusion to me. So wait 1 second. Let me pull up some of his work. And of course, I'm not prepared for this part. But we're going to be doing a really cool kind of fun rig today. This is something, it's a little bit of a hybrid. It's a little bit of, in a way it's easier, and in another way it's harder. And also, a complete side note, I have these incredible fake nails right now that I'm obsessed with. But I also am having a hard time on the computer. So let me see if I can get this. Let this up. Luis is so talented. Let me pull up. And we're gonna do a like I said, a fun little rig. Here is his thing. Let me change the. All right. So here we go. Here is Lewis's his quick Instagram. He is doing a series of women that when I saw him doing some animation or getting back into animation, because he's a designer, a character designer. He's worked on so many incredible shows, Looney Tunes. I worked with him. Gosh, it almost feels like a decade ago. But when he posted that he was getting back into animation, I immediately reached out and said I would animate, or I would help him rig one of his characters in Harmony. So I'm very fortunate to be able to do. We're going to make this little old lady walk. She's super colorful. This is going to be a hard one. This is going to be a good one to do in the style that I'm going to be showing you how to rig, because of all the patterns, all of the, I don't want to say splotches, but we're going to have to try and figure out how to create this rig and get it as close to this animation style as possible. We'll see what we can do. But yes, very, very excited about that. And with this rig, we're going to do it a little bit, like as I mentioned, it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit of a hybrid between Harmony and Photoshop. Harmony does have a robust set of tools to go in and match your brushes and your styles. And so textures like this. But we're also going to use the Photoshop file to kind of like rip it off. So that's kind of where the hybrid is going to come in. And we're not going to be building the whole character, but we're going to be building and attaching to what we see. So let me switch over to the Photoshop file here. Now, to do a rig like this, you need to, one, have a Photoshop file. Two, you probably want to have a bunch of textures, because you wouldn't be pulling a Photoshop file if it didn't have textures. And so what I've already kind of gone in and done was like start cleaning up the layers, which you can see. Am I going in the right direction? Right here. You can see those layers right there. Some of them are not perfect. One of the things that you have to keep in mind is that you have to have individual layers named properly in your Photoshop file. I'm a big fan of labeling things. I think I've said that 100 times with rigging. It just helps. But I'm a big fan of labeling things. So I went through, and because first of all, I'm not a Photoshop designer. So I'm limited. So I have to do as much as I can in Harmony. But what we're going to do is we're going to take all this information, we're going to input it into Harmony, and then it's there. So you might as well kind of do it at the beginning of the stages while you're creating the files. So naming, it's always the best. Luis is, I believe he's from Costa Rica. So Spanish is his first language. So we've got a lot of Spanish layers in here. So I was kind of going in and doing my translations as well. But I didn't get them all done. But I don't think it's going to matter too much today. So right here, what I've done is I've just imported a flat variation of the image. There's been absolutely no changes to the artwork. And then for here, what I'm going to do is bring in my Photoshop PSD, and this one we're going to bring in a little bit differently. So I've already gone in and connected to it, but there we go. All right, so we're going to bring this one in based on the file names. So that's what I mean. Like if the layers are properly named, they're going to basically be brought in directly into Harmony in the same way. So yeah, we're going to import it as a Toon Boom bitmap drawing. That allows us to keep editing what we have. So we're going to do that. And alignment, we're going to keep it actual size. We're also going to go straight. Actually, I can change this instead of actual size. Let's make it a vertical fit. Let's make it a vertical fit, and I'll bring it in. I'll bring in the flat version as well as a vertical fit. And that should keep it to scale, but then we won't have to scale our image down, which actually would be beneficial in our case. So let's let it do its thing. It's going to take a minute. This is a style of rig that is really good for when you are, I don't want to say in a rush, in television, it feels like we're always in a rush. But these are really good rigs for when you kind of have to do something with a lot of detail. You don't have as much time. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be building kind of the base layer of our character, but then we're going to be adding all of our patterns and our shapes, and we're going to be using cutters to kind of like fill the gaps, or to cut them in so they are the appropriate shape. The character doesn't have to move a lot. It's not like she's going to be doing big dance moves. She's not going to be doing anything like that. So this character is just going to be walking. So we really only have to worry about forward sway, something like this. Hey, Maurice, nice to see you. You did make the live stream. This is a cool one. I'm really happy you could to make this one. I'm just rocking back and forth here as the as my character should be doing, as we're waiting for these images to be brought in. It's a bit of a big file, so it's gonna take a minute. You just gotta be patient. How are you doing? How's your rig coming? You'll have to let me know in the chat if you're working on it still. This is a rig that you will not want to emulate, Maurice. This is something that's going to be a little bit different. So, yeah. A rig like this, I kind of use these in emergency situations when I work in TV. It's more for when Harmony can't emulate the designs perfectly. So when I worked on Clyde with the Chips meatballs, we actually drew all the details and all of like the little blue rusty spots by hand, and it was more of like I had to remind my team not to spend too much time figuring out the details of those shadows and the what do you call them? The brush texture, mainly because we just didn't have that much time. And when you're doing a rig like this, you want the time to be spent on the mechanics and the engineering, and you want to make sure the artwork looks good. But you don't want, the last thing that you want is an artist to spend too much time on like the details that are barely going to be able to be seen. It's something that constantly comes up. I was working on a rig for WIA just this week, and I was getting into the same trap. I can't say what it was, but I was getting in the exact same trap where I was like every time I would get a little bit further into the rig, there'd be a new detail that would be uncovered, and it was like a new layer of the onion was pulled back, and it was like, does this need to be addressed? Can we let it go? Can we get past it? And ultimately we had to let one of the details go. But these things are always under consideration for television, and this little character is no exception. So let me see. Let me pull that flat image in at the correct scale. At the new scale. Create a single layer, import as a Toon Boom bitmap, and it's perfect. And we're going to do vertical fits, straight. There we go. All right, so now this one should import a little bit faster, but again, it should be the same size. So. So now we have our reference. We don't need our background layer. We'll leave that. Let's double check that it's the right size. Yeah, it looks good. Looks like everything that we're missing is just our cutters. A little bit more than that. I'll add a transparency so we have something to... Alright, so the cool thing about this is we don't really need to have a huge color palette. Again, it's the first... my colors. We are starting a new rig, so we do want to go through and make sure. We do want to make sure we're starting from scratch. I've already deleted my drawing node. in a minute. The rig is done. Awesome. You rigging more? Oh, that's great. Oh, yeah, of course you're. Yeah, that's awesome. No, I told you, you're gonna get faster than me. Oh, cool. Oh, I can't wait. I'll have to watch you. You'll have to come on my channel. We'll have to cross promote. You can animate for me and I can rig for you. All right, let's go to color. Let's delete some of the colors that we don't need. All right, so let's get rid of these. And let's add a couple. We'll just stick with our lime color right now. Let's pick something that is not totally in the rig. All right, fill will be a different color. This is going to be a bit of a challenge for me, especially because I would say that this is probably the most advanced version of this rig that I've ever created. So let's see how this goes. I should say the one rig that you can definitely see this, or I don't know if you can see it, but when I was doing Vindicators, we got the Vindicators 2, the shorts that are on YouTube. We got the Doom Nomatron designs very late, and it was towards the end of the contracts, and so this was a rig style that I created. And we had to do it was a hybrid, so it was half built, half Photoshop, and we tried to make it look like you couldn't tell. That was the goal. So as long as nobody could tell that we were using Photoshop. But if you take a look at those, I don't know exactly which short it is, which episode, but the big tick-looking Doom Nomatron has a bunch of tentacles. It's the size of a planet. It's massive. It was only in a couple scenes. For one of the shorts, and it was on screen for maybe 5 seconds, and it would have been so much work. It would have been a whole week to build it in Harmony. So this was something that we built the tentacles, I think, in Harmony. I built the tentacles in Harmony and then brought in all the pieces from Photoshop. Because Luis we can't really bounce this file back and forth between us. What's nice about working on a show is that you have a design team that you can kind of send information back, and they'll take care. Like, you can ask them, make a request, and you can say, hey, clean up this layer, or hey, I need this separated, or whatever. And they can do that. In this case, we don't have that option. Luis and I are both kind of a little bit busy, so I'm going to do the best I can with what I have, and show you this really cool rig, or way to rig. All right, so we have our character here. When we imported all those layers from Photoshop, what happens is they come into the program and they look a little bit more like this. Now, I can leave it like this. This is kind of how backgrounds work, actually. When you import backgrounds into Harmony, they come in like this. And so it looks a little, it usually looks a little bit nuts, but the nice thing about it is Harmony does a pretty good job of organizing its layers the same way that you do in Harmony, or in Photoshop. So here I've got the headband, all the pieces. So here, if I deactivate this, all of his layers are here. So really, all I need to do is go, and this is why we name our layers. You can see it here very clearly. And if I wanted to pull this up in the timeline, when you're an animator, this is kind of more what it's going to look like. So you can see there's a whole bunch of layers here. They're really just colors. I didn't want to go in and label each color. I didn't think that it was necessary. So little things like this, we're going to go in and, I don't know if we're going to clean it up or we're just going to leave these layers the way they are. But we're going to go in, we're going to create individual aspects for, let's say, the eye and the face wrinkles. We'll do that. But we'll have to go in and try to create the cutters for the for all the shapes, essentially. All right, so let's get started, and we're gonna slowly pull aspects from the Photoshop file that's already in Harmony into the rig that we're gonna build. So I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna create a drawing. Control R. And I don't have to name it. I'm just gonna add it and close it for right now. I'm gonna group it. And we've got, this is actually girl number 7. All right, so my typing is going to be atrocious today. I'll do the best that I can. The reason I'm at my parents' house is because I went to a wedding on this side of the country, and so these nails are like, they haven't come off yet. They look great, so impractical. Don't know how people do it. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do, again, with any Harmony scene, we delete the original drawing that the program gives us, but we add in our own, and we want to make sure we add in our blank drawings, just so that we can have something in case the animator wants to turn it off. So we can add a blank drawing. We're going to add one more blank drawing, and we'll name this one ZZ. So we can put it to sleep. We'll hit OK. And then we'll go back to our first drawing. So we've got our blank drawing. We're not going to be drawing on it though. And we go back to drawing number 1, and we'll be drawing on that. So now we can copy and paste, Control V, Control V. Make sure we've got our paste special window set up properly. So always create drawing files, create new columns. We want those to be turned on so we're not accidentally cloning our artwork. Copy, Control V, Control V. We'll just add a couple. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4, 12. I hope everybody is beating the heat out there. It's getting hot in Windsor. Fun fact, Windsor is 4 degrees hotter because of Detroit and all of the cement that Detroit has. Like it acts as a little bit of a heat wave. Okay, where's my pen? There it goes. All right, let's go here. We've got our reference. Oh, this looks good actually. All right, let's deactivate this for a quick second. Now we're going to organize this the same way that we do any other rig. Hot here too. Oh, Maurice, you're in California? I didn't realize you're in California. All right, so we're going to start, we're going to go head to toe. That's left to right. Don't worry about what my hands are doing because it's backwards. But we're going to do head to toe for sure. So we're going to start with our facial features like normal. And we're just going to try, I always try to do this I try to keep things in the proper order. Actually, forgot to add more of these before I start naming things. Let me Control V, Control V. And I know that my window's working, so I'm going to use the shortcut Control Shift B. Again, if you're kind of new to the software, you might not want to take this shortcut. It's sometimes a bit risky. All right, so now we've got so we'll start with the eyes. All right, so what's in front? so let's say we got our eyebrows. Those are always in front. We've got our eyelashes. Then we have our eyelid. Then we have our eye, our pupil, and then our eye. So eyebrow, eye, eyelash, not the eyelid. Let's see. Even if we don't use all of these layers right away, it's really good to just kind of to batch do this work. So we'll basically work from the head, then we'll do the body. So today we're just going to focus on the face, really. It's pretty much as much as we'll probably get through. So we got eyebrow, eyelash, eyelid, then we got the pupil. Now this character also has a shadow, so we're going to have to add that in. It's actually going to be above the pupil. So let's do EYELAS shadow. This. I'm actually going to hook it up to the eyelash. Alright, so then we got the eye. There we go. View, we can put that on its own composite. So again, the composites are what organizes the work. So they're kind of like chapters in a book in a way. So if the character is the book, the composites are what breaks it down into the smaller pieces. So we've got an eye composite. Okay, we got the eye. Add the little eye creases, eye winkles. I love these. I think I really like this character because in a way, when we discussed this, it was a while back. But in a way, I was super into. I really just identified with the with the colorful old lady coming out of the pandemic. So that's why I was like, oh, let's take this hard one. Let's do it. This is kind of how I feel right now. Of course, I've got a little bit more energy than I did when this was back in the winter. So I think we were. I don't even think that the ice storm had happened yet. So I was just beat up from the winter. All right, we got the eye back. Okay, so then we also have to remember we've got this hair and the hairband. They're obviously above the face. But again, we want to keep our face on the far left. So we'll do the face, then we'll go back to the hair and all of these details that are in here. So we've got the eye big. Then let's do the nose. Nose. We've got a nose line. Should probably be above the nose. Nose. Line. Across this. A faster way to do this too, kind of, would be actually, we are at the point where we've got enough rigs where we can start reusing some assets. And by that, what I mean is like reusing the rig. So right now I'm building it from scratch, which is kind of what I've always said I would do. But at some point I'm going to want to start stealing pieces of rigs so that I can kind of move through this faster. So you can expect that in the future. Hey, Bass Birdie. Welcome. Welcome to the new rig. Bass Birdie, we got in the chat, we've got Maurice and Steph in the chat. So you guys can say hi to each other. You guys are both in California as well. So are you guys suffering from any forest fires at the moment? I haven't seen anything about it in Canada recently, but I'm not hooked up to the news, so I'm not sometimes the best person to judge or to look for those things to speak about them. We've got the nose line, we've got the nose. Let's do the mouth next. So we've got our wrinkles. Do our wrinkles. We'll do our what are these called? Our smile lines. Which ones would be our smile lines? Our wrinkles would be, our smile lines would be here, and then we've got our lip. We'll just do lip wrinkles. And we'll do the mouth and the teeth. I love her expression so much. Mouth and teeth. Do a composite for here. Mouth, teeth. Lip wrinkles, the mouth wrinkles. The nose can have its own. I feel like it's gonna need it. Alright, so this is gonna be our face right here, and you can see that the network is starting to take shape, which I love. Slowly but surely. Okay, so we've got our eyes, our nose, our mouth. From here, what we're going to need to do is the head. So we put our teeth over here. So then we've got our, we're going to do our jaw, and then we'll do the head, and then the hair. So we'll do our jaw shape. Then we'll do the head shape. And then we're going to need to add all these little details. We'll have to come back and arrange these. The head is not going to be at the front layer, which right now I have it. So let's see, we've got our we're going to have our hair, shadow, our hair. I think I've got any of these layers properly. So we've got our hair, lines, and details. We've got our hair. This is not even our hair bang. These are bangs. Make sure that we're being a little bit more. So we've got a lot of hair in this character. A little bit more specific. B-A-N-G-S, bangs. Bangs. Lines on top of the bangs, then the shadow. Alright, goes below. Alright, now we've got this. We're going to need to do the hair and the ear. And the headband. Alright. Let's do the hair. Or let's do the ears first. So ears, E-A-R. Do the earring and then the ear. And then the hair. And then this drawing will probably just be like this, like the bulk of the hair that's attached to the head. This is just gonna have a long ponytail, so this is just kind of like a little bit in this area right here. We'll just hit close for now. I'm not quite sure how else that's gonna go. And then we'll we give the hairband its own composite, so that it's nice and neat. And I'm going to put it in front, not in front of the ear. We'll just leave it in the back for now. Hairband. Okay. Got the hairband. Right here. Hair. Band. And a top knot. Okay, so that's giving us enough to get started. I don't know what else we're gonna have. We've got the hair bands, then we've got the top pony. We'll do this one as well, I guess. And this has kind of got 3 pieces. So we got this square here, this the knot, and then the 2 ends. So we want to make sure that we give all of these pieces, these 4, and we'll just call this the mid band. Mid red band. Alright, so we'll do the main piece. Okay, got one more. And 2. Alright, so that's I guess we should finish the ponytail, and then that would be most of the head and neck. We have to add the little thing right here. I don't want to call it a double chin. Let's see, this one. Okay, so we'll go with the pony and the hair end. So we need the lines. So pony lines. Low band. Okay, we got the pony. That'll be the mid pony, the ponytail, and we need to add lines to that ponytail. All right, so that gives us the shape, and then I'll just unplug these for now. Actually, we'll go with the neck. Add these. See how far we get today. I like these rigs because I would consider this a one-off. So you're literally rigging something to do like one specific thing. So you don't really have to like cover all the bases. You don't have to really think outside the box. You don't have to add a lot of missing pieces. What you just want to do is make sure that all the pieces that you need are there and that they're accessible to do the things that they need to do. And again, this rig, we're just shimmying. It's just an easy walk. So she will have the ability to do more stuff, but we only need to rig it to walk. All right, so I don't want to call this a double chin. What should we call this? This needs a nicer name. Does anybody have a nicer name? Chin, C-H-I-N, under chin for now, and then the neck. All right, so now we start. So for this rig, what we're gonna do, we gotta find a textured line so that we kind of mimic this shape. So let's go to our tool properties. Let's find a line. In some sort. We can try the charcoal. Charcoal might actually work pretty well. 25 is too big, so let's say 10. See where 10 is. 10 looks good. And then we can go in. We can kind of fine tune what this line looks like. So. See what this one looks like. Oh, not that one. Nope. Right now I'm just trying to see if there's something in the default settings that kind of matches what we're looking for. This one's not too bad. Felt, green, green's not quite. See what wiggly looks like. Nope. And stringy, probably not. Not feeling good about that one. I think grain. No, not grain. Which one was this one? Felt? Yes, okay, felt. Let's see. Let's explore. I want to explore felt and charcoal. Alright, so what we can also do, we could change a little bit of our resolution to make this a little bit nicer. So for our scene, so let's see. I might have to restart my scene though. Let's go to scene settings. Let's up this just a smidgen. So drawing resolution. Oh, we're at 200. No, pixel density. Here we go. Let's press this button exactly 50 times. Let's hit OK. Close this for a quick second and we'll save it. I'm going to reset. I'm going to reopen this up. I'm going to get caught up on the chat. It's nice to see you guys chatting to each other. Yeah, this is Marie's first time on the stream that he's made it. So that's pretty exciting. I'm happy you could make it. You must not be working, or your schedule's changed, or maybe you're on vacation, in which case, thanks for sharing. First, thanks for being here. Steph, are you down? Are you done now? Are you on your vacation, your summer vacation? Well, thank you for sharing. Thank you for being here on your day off. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Like you can see this takes a minute. I'm restarting the scene so that it'll re-up on that pixel density. And hopefully it'll give us a little bit more of a crisper image. I don't know if my lighting in this room isn't the best, so I don't think it matters too much, but that is a little. All right. Let's see if that made any sort of difference. Should make a little bit, yeah. I guess I can see a little bit more detail in this bottom fuzz. Let's see. Let's go back to the pencil. We can create a custom brush. Do we want to do, how much do I want to play with the brush? Don't have a texture file to load, so maybe this is kind of all we're going to be doing today. Yeah, it's the brushes that's going to give us some more. Let's see. All right. Well, for now we're going to use the. Let's go with the charcoal. I'm going to stick with the charcoal. Let's make a new preset. We'll call this Girl 7. Bring it to the top. Maximum size is 10, minimum size is 30, which is probably fine. A little bit of center smoothing. Okay, that texture. So let's make sure that these are turned on. And we can start. All right, so we're going to use some of these things. We're going to be pulling right from the document that we've already created within Harmony or within Photoshop. So we're going to we've already brought that into Harmony. So a lot of the layers we're going to pull directly from that. So that way we're using exactly Luis's work. So in the case of the eyebrow, we're going to go find that eyebrow and we're going to bring that artwork in to our layer here. So we can, there's a couple ways we can do this. We can actually activate lock this so we don't keep selecting it. But here, we've got our face lines. Whoops. I just want this one. Alright, so we're going to copy. And we're going to bring that information here. So with our eyebrow, we're just going to see if it's all connected. All connected. So in this case, we're going to use our slice and dice tool. It's got another name. 1 second. It's underneath here. The cutter. There it is. This one right here. So the shortcut for this one is Control T. Is it Control T or Shift T? Yeah, Control T. And this is how we're going to go in and basically going to copy and paste the information that we have into the pieces that we need them. And this is kind of the fastest way to work. There's some other ways. There's definitely some ways when you import the images, they all line up, or they all have, each drawing has its own piece, has every single drawing. I should say each drawing has every single drawing. So when you flip through all the frames, your design starts to go a little crazy. So what I like to do in that case is just build my own network and then go into the artwork and cut and paste so that I'm not even dealing with all that extra information. Creates very heavy rigs. Looks like this one did not do that, but it's very easy. So we're just basically, again, I'm a big fan of deleting. Deleting is the fastest way. So Control T, and we're basically zoom in. We're going to cut the pieces that we don't need. So delete, delete. And then we'll have to just be very careful that we're not accidentally deleting any of the artwork. And when we're done, you should see that this window right here kind of snaps back. If it's still big, you can do something like this and see what it is. So we can delete a bunch of invisible information that we can still, and it should reset. So there we go. So again, we don't have to worry too much about, that is the Harmony bitmap. That's the Toon Boom bitmap layer doing its thing. That's where all the information that it's kind of creating excess bulk information, but that's what allows us to go in and manipulate these drawings specifically. So we've got our eyebrow now, and I want to make sure I'm on the right layer. I am. Okay, and we got our eyelash, which is going to be just this. So again, this is not a typical rig. This is not something that we do often. It's just something that we can do. Alright, so I'm going to go in here and clean this up. If I had the Photoshop skills, or if I had the team to go back, I would ask them to clean up these layers, but It works pretty well. And again, we'll do a quick it should snap into position. Still kind of something still. There it is. Alright, so there's your eyelash. Then we've got our, I don't know if our eyelash shadow's in this layer. It's not, so we can delete that. I'm going to deactivate these to protect these. We've got our eyelid. Now, the lines themselves, it's going to be kind of me recreating those lines in the program. We could put deformers on here though, so if those lines were totally revealed, for instance, this line right here is chopped by the eyelash, so I don't necessarily want to create half a line and then kind of like what I did with the eyelash. But this line you can see both ends, so I could reuse that artwork. But I'm going to try to recreate some of these lines in Harmony, just because it's a little bit of overkill to take every line. But it's not the worst. So let's see. You could still put deformers on these things. Treat this exactly like it was artwork. See, we got our eyelid. I think that we don't have the whites in here. No. So then let's go to. Let's see. That might be it actually. That might be all that I want to just double check. Control V. Yeah, I think that might be all I want to steal from those layers. So let's do the eyelash shadow can stay, the eyelid to match this artwork. Okay, Control save, and then go to our colors. We're going to trace with this line. We'll do this one. We'll do skin line. We'll do this one as like a dark blue. I almost feel like this needs to be a separate. Needs to be another. Maybe this one will use the felt. See if we can give it that. That feel. All right, so let's see. Alright, so the eyelid, I'm making this line right now, but I already know I'm going to be doing something specific with the engineering on this one, so I don't want to spend too much time. I do want to make this thinner. Maybe this is maybe 10 is too thick. Maybe this is an 8. Let's use this line. Eyelid. Do this one. Alright, so now we will do the pupil. The pupil is a circle, so we might as well do that one. Take care of that. It's simple. All of a sudden, I'm not liking my Oh, you got a color about the color override node. Yeah, shoot. Go for it. Of course. As long as you can. Yeah, feel free to drop your question. I always come back to the chat. I kind of zone out and work. Then I forget that I'm working, zone out on the chat, and then come back. It goes back and forth. What do I got? This integrated help window that I can't even see. Oh, it's because it's on this side of my screen. There we go. I don't think you guys even saw that. So let's do this one with people. And eye. Now the eye we're going to build, I'm going to build this a little bit bigger. It's going to be a little bit, this is where the engineering is going to happen. So I'm kind of making this shape up. So do, I don't know if I want to do an eye like this or an eye like this. Double check with the just wondering what that stroke was doing there. It's on the wrong layer. Deactivate this. Deactivate this. All right. Yeah, the color override. There's like two nodes. There's the color selector and the color override. They're both pretty heavy nodes. We try to not use them as much as we used to use them a lot. Like they used to like rule the day, rule the rigs. But they don't quite anymore. But we still use them. They still are pretty powerful. Okay, color select a question. When I want to use a color, the right way to select it in the color override node. What are you using the color override node to do, Maurice? Let's see, I can pull up a color override. Oh, where did my little wrinkle go? There we go. Let's make them clickable and invisible. Alright, so what I've done here is just added an invisible handle. Doesn't need to have the, just so you can see. I'll set it back to being invisible. Alright. Yeah, so a color override does a couple things. We usually use it to like swap colors. You can change like color palettes. You can change individual colors. Those are probably the big things. You could do things like what we do now with the layer filters. We couldn't do before. Like the layer filters are a relatively new part of the software. So what we used, like we basically, like an eyebrow is a really good example of this. So what we used to do was we would draw everything on one layer. So you'd have your eyebrow and your eyebrow mask cutter on one layer. But now we have the layer filters. So what we do is we separate those two colors, but before we couldn't do that. So we would use the layer filters, we would use the layers, and then we'd use the color overrides to basically go in and say, out of this layer, we're like in this stream, we want these colors, and this stream, we want these colors. And that's what would give us the two lines to basically cut our eyeball by the eyebrow mask. Okay, so I had two colors in a node, but I only wanted one color to cut the other node. So that sounds like what you're trying to do with the eyebrow. So I go to my eyebrow layer, and I can go in and add this color right now. So just cutter. Get rid of the alpha. So now I can go to this eyebrow. You just want to keep in mind, it's okay to have a couple color overrides. They're not going to affect the weight of your scene. But when you're working with when you get to bigger rigs and you have if you have a lot of color overrides, it's going to be a little bit harder to what was I saying? It's going to be a little bit harder to you just kind of want to like manage the size of your file. So you don't want to use too many. But again, make sure if you can use a layer filter instead of a color override, it's just lighter. So again, if you're just doing it once in a while, totally fine. But if you're gonna have a lot, try to go with the layer filters. They're just gonna make your scene a lot lighter, and you won't notice the drag. So I'm gonna save. I'm gonna flatten this. And now I'm going to go in and edit this drawing individually, just so that it's kind of hidden up in there. we go. That kind of hides it. So a color override. You also have the color selector, which they say they're a little bit lighter, but they're still very similar. They can still be pretty heavy. So you have these. You can do this two ways. So the color override, and then you also have the selector, color selector. So let's see how this works. All right. So I've got my eyebrow here, and I want my eyebrows. And again, we're not using layer selectors here, so we would, or layer filters. So what we would do is just grab a liner and a color art, and then we use that as the connect, as the thing that cuts the one and bypasses. But using a color override, we want to add. I'm going to bring in the cutter so that you can. So we're going to cut. Let's cut the whole. Let's just cut this whole drawing right here. Let's fill it so that we know. Bring it into the white zone for now. All right. Okay, so we've got our cutter, and we don't want our eyebrow to, I mean, we kind of do, we kind of want it to cut it. We'll have to see what this looks like. But what we also want is just that mask. We don't want the eyebrows mask to actually be shown in this artwork. So you can use a color override. And the way that this works is you go into your color override and you have these two, it's a little bit unintuitive. There used to be three palettes here, but now we've got this is like a whole palette override. Then we've got our individual color overrides right here. And we actually don't really use this tab too often. It's more, we go to this one. So this is kind of where it gets a little bit confusing with the color override. So you hop into this tab here, and instead of saying render all, you say render selected colors. And then you can also say bitmaps, and it's going, I think it's, oh no, it doesn't actually render the eyebrow, but render selected colors. And this is where you bring in your cutter. So you basically want to say, you're rendering this. So I'm going to hit close, and now it's rendering this one as a priority. But this is kind of more of our cutter. And what you also want to do when you're using color overrides is label them, because there's nothing worse than having 8 color overrides. So, and none of them labeled. So I usually say COV and then cutter. And then that just lets me know that this is the, and you can also, like, you can go even one further and label, you can almost, then that way you know that this is kind of this is the mask cutter color. So in theory, you would put this here, and then here, you bring that back down, but you would want another color override. So let's bring in my color override, and we'd say, oops. The color overrides also have multiple nubs. So like, if you notice, you can plug in a texture. This is for a transformation, so you can actually put a peg, attach a peg to these. Again, 95% of the reason, like 95% of the time, you're never going to use those, but every once in a while you do. But here we just go to render, instead of render all, we go render selected colors, and it's going to bypass, so nothing's in here. So I think is it rendering my eyebrow, or is that the eyebrow? Let's change this to this one. I want to render this one. How do I bring that bitmap in? This one might be tough. I've never used a color override on this type of a rig, so I'm not actually, how would I bring that in? I think what I would have to do is, instead of render selected colors, I have to do it backwards. So let's say instead of render all, let's see, how would I do this? Double click here. Can you change this? Maybe it needs to be. I'm going to delete this. Let's go to individual color overrides here. It's not showing up. It's interrupting. I wonder if we can't do this because it's not, it's a Toon Boom bitmap. I think that would be considered a bitmap. Hang on a regular rig, we wouldn't have this problem. Let me think. Let's see. I'm trying to think of how to exclude, bring everything in, but exclude that green color. Because the other thing that we could do, this might just be a bad example. We're mixing methods here, so it's not. This is not a situation where you want to pull in a color override with a bitmap layer or like a Photoshop file. Here's a bad example. Essentially, you'd have another color, which would be for the eyebrow, and then you basically go to your color override and say render out the eyebrow color. But since we're not drawing that eyebrow, it's there. But color selectors would work the same way. So, but again, I don't have a. Let's see. Pull this one off. And I'll use the color selector. It's just that it's set up a bit differently, but I find that the color selector to be a little bit more intuitive. And again, everybody swears that this node is a little bit lighter. But it's kind of the same. It's kind of the same when you are asking the computer to go in and pull out the information at such a level of detail, like per color. You are asking the computer to do a little bit of work for you. So you're going to have, depending on how many you have, you're going to have. You can have a little bit of weight to your scene, so just be conscious. But again, it's the same idea. You're basically adding, and in this case, what I do like about the color selector is the way that it organizes the colors. It's a little bit different. So you've got the girl 7, LG for Luis, but then all the colors that are in the palette right here, which would be smaller. All here, so we can see them. But you can also filter it through the actual drawing node itself, so it'll only show you the colors that are showing up in that node. So what's really nice about it is if you have like a character with a very big palette list, you can go into that node and it'll show you exactly what colors you're using. It's also really nice for when you have like a bunch of drawings drawn with the same color. But not quite. They're drawn with the same color, exactly, but different color IDs. So if you've got a bunch of lines that you, like let's say you wanted to make sure they have separate color IDs, but they're all the same color in your design, you just have like 5 black lines. So for an example, we used to build hands and every finger, we'd use the color overrides, and this is why things were so heavy. Every finger would be its own black line. So the character would have a black line and the design, and then it would be your thumb line 1, finger line, or thumb line, finger line 1, finger line 2, finger line 3, finger line 4. And so you'd essentially have more than 5 black lines in your color palette, and that's a lot to keep track of. So when you're working it like this and you go to the finger, finger 1, or this is finger 3, if you go to finger 3, that drawing thing, you would just say line 3, which is, or like finger line 3, which is kind of nice because it just minimizes your risk of making a mistake and grabbing the wrong line. So that's what's kind of nice about this. So you can just say, in this case, we want that color cutter, and hit close. But I still have this here. To mitigate this, I could just bring in my line, my line art, and my color art. I know that I've separated that artwork, so I can just pull in my line art. This is kind of the mixing of the two. So my eyebrow will be on top, and my color selector. And if I get this actual big, it'll still work. So it'll look really cool with that sketchy, see-through-ish vibe. But that's basically how you use a color selector and a color override. There's definitely a couple different ways that you could be also using a color override. Like you could swap information from the pieces. So you can literally say, like for example, too, you could remove your colors. So if you select it and then hit this little negative sign, you want to do that. So yeah, color selectors just make color overrides a little bit more easy, I think, for people. Color overrides are specifically a little bit more robust because they do more. And that's here, the individual color overrides. So if we bring this in and then click on this little button right here, we have all these options. And this is when you get into like Harmony Technical Director level knowledge. There's a lot of things in here. So you can override the color. You can say color not visible, which is probably what we should have done here. Let's see. Copy view. So we've got. So let's say, but we're still missing our eyebrow. That's the only thing. I don't know how to bring that image back. All right. So we want to do. I'm going to get rid of this. And here we're going to say, oops, color not visible. Let's see if it'll, I don't really see it though. Okay. Basically turn it off. Again, it's not exactly doing what I want it to do right now. But then you get the new RGBA, which is a really cool one because then this is where you can actually change the color. So you just double click and you can say, oh, make that color this color, and that should be this color now. Trying to think of how you're not going to see it. And then a lot of these little fixes, you actually have to go into render mode to see. So, of course, this is not going to show me. I've taken this off. Render selected colors, render all. There we go. Yeah, so now we can see it. And let's see if I can remove it now. Color not visible. Yeah, there we go. That works. So now it's working. And we've just removed that color. So this wouldn't be considered a cutter. This might be considered a anti-cutter, really. It's everything but the cutter. Everything but the cutter bagel. Yeah, so there we go. So that works. And then let's see if it shows up. Yeah, it still shows up in our soft render, so that's good. So you could use color overrides, but again, our layer filters, they are a little more practical in this case now. Color overrides, we used to do, rigging used to be so much harder because of color overrides. But having these 4 layers here I think there's a lot of us that still wish there was more layers, especially when you get into mouths. With color overrides, you could never add braces to characters. Fun fact. If a character had braces, we'd have to say nope, because there was just literally no way that we could put all that information into the drawing and then bring it out properly. So braces was a no-go, and now we could do braces pretty easily. I'm gonna delete these color overrides for now. And I'm also going to use my other, I think I still have my, oh, I don't want to generate thumbnails. I just want to get, these things, scene setup, what's this one? Scene setup blank. Is this a blank drawing, or is this a, there we go. We've got a blank drawing, and we've got our layer filters all done up for us, so I'm going to steal really the drawing, but I am going to take these. That way we've got our color override. We're not using color overrides, we're using our layer filters, but we can get those to look all nice. And again, I'm pretty sure this was you, Maurice. You were like, let's group it. So let's group it. So let's do this. What have we got? We got our overlay, line art, color, AP, color art, and underlay. And we can label those as green. Get rid of these. Alright, make sure that it's properly alright, all done. And there we go. So now we've got our group and ready to go. Save that. I should probably put that in my library. I wonder if that's what this is. Maybe I need to rename this. Oh, nope, that's not what that is. Okay, perfect. Alright, so let's put this in the library. There we go, perfect. That's in there now. Alright, and then we keep going. We're definitely going to go in and change this because I actually want to have, I'm actually going to take this eyelid and I'm going to add it to the eyebrow. So the eyelash is actually going to be cutting the eye in the same way that the eyebrow does. But we're not quite there yet. So I'm going to ignore where we're at. People, this color. Change this. We got the eye wrinkle. We got this little eye bag. Let's steal some of these artworks. Yeah, but don't don't underestimate the power of those color overrides, because they can do a lot of stuff, and that's basically, gosh, there's so much creativity in those color overrides, which you can do. I would say that's where a lot of the technology lives within the program. Okay. That, deactivate that. Let's go to the nose line. Let's add this. I love this little freckle pattern here. Oh my gosh, I can't believe the detail. That we're going to try and I don't know if we're going to recreate that or just steal it from Photoshop. Okay, alright, we got the nose line, deactivate. We have not added our nose. Let's see, this is the wrinkles on the face, and we've got the lip wrinkles. How much time we have? Yeah, we got this. So much. Fast Birdie, are you working on anything right now? Or are you taking a little bit of a break? Oh, I can hear Maybel outside the door. She's crying. Make these a little thinner. What number is this? This is 7. I try so hard to keep these numbers whole. Let's go 6. Let's see. 6 looks like it could be good. Not quite sure if these should be on their own separate layer right now, but let's do it. And you can see these lines are not being cut, and I'll have to double check the reference file. That just might be Photoshop not being perfect. Ooh, super secret thing. Sounds like you're actually not taking a break. Sounds like that's a lot of stuff. Working on a super secret thing, personal animation, and getting back into painting. Good for you. Take that break. Actually, since I am everything's in this room and within arm's reach, I can actually show you what I do in my free time. We've talked about this a little bit, but this is my art. This is what I'm working on right now. So it's kind of hard to see. I think I mentioned that I weave and I do looms, and yeah, this is the frame that I'm working on right now. So kind of hard to see, and it looks like it's a big string mess, which it is. But those strings get tucked away at the end. So nice to show that off. Everything is the bed's right behind me, so it's like everything is like within arm's reach. Oh, thank you very much. What is it, an interrogation? Me interrogating you on your work? No, take your time. No pressure. Enjoy the process. That's kind of always the goal. All right, so we got our lip wrinkles. We got our wrinkles. Let's deactivate. Let's deactivate. Deactivate. And now let's add the mouth. Now this is gonna have to be. We're gonna need to have an upper lip and a bottom. Actually, we probably won't. Probably won't actually have to. We definitely have to decide. I don't know if I kind of like not liking the charcoal anymore, and I only want to use that felt. And you can see I'm not doing a great job of setting up my colored palettes. I'm just kind of doing them as we go, but Deactivate this for a second. Deactivate this for a second. Let's do. A couple of these colors now. Love all of the unique colors. You just really don't see purple lines and teeth ever, so that's nice. Let's see, what am I missing? I need some skin. Looks like every thing can have its own. We'll do this. I'll call this the rough line. This one as the skin. Alright, what are we missing? We've got our eyebrow and our lash line. Let's see, both these shadows. We're not going to add the texture. What, am I missing anything? Not that I know of for now. Maybe the blush. All right, and so now you can kind of see I'm kind of moving through this rig a lot faster than usual. I'm going to leave these for now. Activate, deactivate, deactivate, deactivate. I can add the teeth. I can add the teeth. That was an easy one. So might as well. Yeah, I'm going to change. How do I do this? It's been so long. Go to the pencil feature. I'm going to make a change. The texture. I'm going to change this to the felt. I'm going to refresh it. I think that should. Undo. Well, it should be. We should default to that texture now. You can really see now why I don't really trace in the colors that the character is. That's just a me thing though. Alright, teeth. Done for now. Alright, let's do these bigger shapes. This is the part that kind of happens quick. Don't blink. Alright, let's see. Now, we need to have, when we work on our other like characters and we do like things like, we do things like limbs, we want to make sure that pieces that are hinging together have enough space to overlap. But when we're doing like a one-off rig like this, it's not as important. So we can kind of get away with just playing with shapes. So I actually really find that this process kind of starts to speed up. So I'm going to copy a circle and put this in the jaw. Yeah, change the colors, but I'm still going to have some features like this detail line right here. So this jaw is going to have an overlay and an underlay. So we'll structure it the same. I just kind of want to get as much of this shape as possible, but it doesn't have to have a perfect circle right here to hinge at. We don't have to worry about that, which is kind of nice. Changes our process a little bit. So I can even bring this back and kind of give it like a little bit more of a jawbone shape. Something like this. So a little bit more organic. We got the jaw, we got the head. So same idea. So if I wanted to bring it back a little bit, this like nose shape here, and there's like a little bit of a give it more of a skull. I'm saying it, but her. And now I can do this is going to be the same color as the skin, so we're going to go to the color, we'll go skin line, and skin tone. Oh, I put everything in here on the overlay layer, so let me cut and paste, Control X. Alright, so our line art has our line, our color art has our color art layer, and then our overlay layer. It's going to have we'll have a detail on it, but we don't have that. We don't have to really worry about that for the head, but for the jaw, we have this. We'll just paste this down. Right, so on our overlay, we can really remove this right now. I think that the line is already attached perfectly, so now we can get rid of it here. All right, and we can taper. Want to follow what the design is. I think that'll be good. Okay, so now we can deactivate that. Alright, then we get into the hair shapes. So I'm going to leave the bang lines, just go to the bangs, and we're just going to create this shape. Do this with let's do it with a circle. We want this hair to be a different color, actually. we'll start with this. There's a little swoop right here. I don't know if I want to incorporate that into the bangs or not, but we'll leave it for now. Just the hair in one color, one solid shape. We activate this. And so I do want to do the ear. Let's do the ear. All right, so I can't stay on too much longer today. Can't really do like a lot of overtime while I'm visiting at home. I have my mom in the other room waiting for me. So I'm gonna finish this ear. I'm gonna wrap it up. But if you guys have any final questions before I wrap it up, feel free to send that in the chat. You're also going to hear me get pretty excited about the new workshop that I launched this week. My demo reel workshop, demo reel transfer, was it? It was 2D 2D transformational demo reel summer camp for doing a demo reel. I know the industry's down right now, but it's not going to be like this forever. And when the jobs hit, you're going to want to, if you want to be one of the first people employed, you're going to want your demo reel to be ready and updated. Unless you have an incredible, not a demo reel, but like reputation. If you have the incredible reputation behind you, sometimes that stops you from making a demo reel. But if you are newer to the industry and you were trying to get a job, demo reel is definitely a way to go. So if you are interested in doing that with us, and by us, I have another 5 incredible people that are going to be joining me on this journey. But they are very excited to see all the demo reels, and we're basically going to help people build scenes with a demo reel, fill them out, fix some things up, edit, take out stuff. Most of the time, demo reels are just full of stuff that you don't necessarily want to share. So there might be too long. So editing is a big thing. But yeah, you're going to hear a lot more about that in the next coming weeks, that's for sure. The ear is going to be the skin. It's just going to be the skin color. I'm on the right. X. This here. We have that. We're going to build, I want to bring that little earpiece in from here. So first deactivate this, activate this. You could draw it, but you could also copy it. Let's see if there's a difference. We'll do a little test. Here, we'll put it on the overlay. Remove the stuff we don't need. I think I'm using the right shortcut. All right, there it is. Perfect. All right, the ear's done. Demo reel camp. It's 2 months. 2 months of 1 month of instruction and feedback and getting that the understanding of what you want to add to your demo reel, and then 1 month of like working on your demo reel and getting the feedback so that you're bringing out the best in your work. So I'm actually pretty excited about it. If I was in school and needed to work on my demo, I remember working on my first demo reel and having my friend basically make my demo reel for me because I couldn't do it. I was really struggling to add, like, what do I put in? What do I take out? And she was already in the industry, and she just kind of went, here's your best work, here it is. And we're basically going to be doing that, but to a bigger scale, and helping you create more pieces. So you'll actually be animating, or rigging, or designing, or storyboarding within the workshop, within the summer camp. So there will be more information coming out this week, every day. Yeah, let's stop here. This is where did we get? Woo! Exciting stuff. Woo, coming along. Let's get these bangs in the proper spot. Up here. And shadows gonna go back there. And lines are gonna be inside. Here is the front. And this also shows. All right, so let's stop here and for today, and then we'll keep it up. We'll keep going. But yeah, so I would love to hear from you, Maurice. All right. So that's it for today, and tune in for next week, and we'll keep going. And thank you so much. Nice to have you here, Maurice, and Best Birdie, as always. Love to have you guys here. So I'll see you next week, okay? Bye.